You are now fixated on the finest quality of educated and opinionated brothers, black brothers, who take the free time you most have generously donated to us and curate a channel free of fuckery or bullshit and write with wisdom and insight. We turn spoils to royal, we turn doodles to murals, we turn dollars to euros, weed to florals, or florals to weed, whatever you need. We proceed to give you these
and many, many more motherfucking episodes.
It's your boy Nikki Duce, aka Mr. No Disrespect. And you're now tuned in to No Disrespect. How y'all doing?
Great.
Well, honey.
Well, before I ain't gonna start it off like how I usually do, because we got two special guests. One long time coming guest.
Should be happy you special.
Imani's back.
Hi, everyone.
Imani.
I'm here for good now. I'm here
She says that right now. She's been off and on like a deadbeat daddy, but
listen, my
at the
things
same
are
time,
here in Atlanta.
she's been rocking with us since day one. So of course we always, whenever
I
she's
miss
here,
your subtle jazz voice on this podcast. I think I might match your energy.
It's very calming.
my radio voice.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
And we also have another special guest, but she's
Girl Neems,
the special is getting a little dusty right
I
now.
know,
So
it's-
'cause
damn, Dusty. That was
we
a
just
Right.
say
Boy.
we getting used to it now. So
that
Neems, you know what I'm
humbled
saying?
me.
It's new to me. It's the second
This
time.
is the second time, yeah.
So
We gotta keep you
great
humble.
to have you back.
You gotta keep-
As much
thank
as I'm
you.
gonna
Glad to
uplift
be
you, I will
back.
break you down.
Wow, that is it's right in the gut.
It's
All
life motto. So
Some real
you already
shit.
know who it is. You feel what I'm saying? I'm trying
Go
to get
on.
my Atlanta accent down. Tell my baby I'm back in town. What's good, ladies, gentlemen?
Bro, you
Nicholas.
be off and on too. I'm about to kick you off the damn show, nigga. You guys be leaving me 2 weeks. I be telling the niggas I be by myself. You know what I'm saying? I gotta fend for the whole show.
Bro, we trying to make it happen out here, bro. We have to cover all fronts.
Willie don't cut it, bro.
All fronts.
Willie don't cut it. I'll let you know right now. Shout out to Willie though.
Shout out to the boy Chill. Ew.
Today I was watching this Netflix series called Black Mirror, right? And
Who was watching it?
I said I was, nigga.
Oh.
That's how he started his
Yeah.
sentence.
So I was watching this Netflix series. Have y'all watched the newest season of Black Mirror yet?
I finished it yesterday.
Halfway there.
So
I have not. No spoilers.
So me and Imani
Yikes.
watched halfway through the first episode, and it's already lightweight fucked up. And
We can't
it's
even talk about it. 'cause
yeah,
I
I'm not even gonna talk.
saw it.
I'm not gonna talk about it to spoil it just yet. Just make sure you watch it because it's still great quality and everything.
Great quality.
Shout out to Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the only 3 episodes, though?
I'm
it's-
tired
it's
of this
a-
shit, but they're like movie length.
Yeah, so I as long as I get quality, I
I'm
don't
just
care
saying,
about
be
quantity.
consistent. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not
Like,
gonna
I
lie,
like
though.
I like quantity
I like quality.
don't they normally have like 10 episodes in one
They
season?
normally
Yeah.
do, but I think
They're
after
like
the
an hour
Bandersnatch
long?
that are all quality.
episode, they
Yeah.
do these movie Black
Oh,
Mirror
the
episodes.
interactive
The
Netflix.
interactive
I haven't
one,
watched that one yet.
That one fucked me
Oh,
up.
the Bandersnatch.
I didn't like it.
That one was. I like that one.
I don't like-
it.
it got
Just
in my
fucked me up
head.
when. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna ruin. Okay.
Yeah, no, watch it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was saying all that to say like it's already rubbing me the wrong way. Not rubbing me the wrong way, but it's just like it's weird. It's just
It's a
like
different angle.
it
Isn't
makes
it always though?
Yeah,
Right.
but
Is
this
it something?
Don't you always feel
different than what you
unsettled
would-
after you watch
Yeah.
Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Is it the typical feeling you feel after a Black Mirror
yes,
episode?
pretty much.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just
The
more the same.
unsettling.
It's
And
a
then-
mental capacity you need to have when you sit down to watch.
Exactly, and it reminded me of me trying to get through When They See Us,
I couldn't.
which is the latest Ava DuVernay movie miniseries about the Central Park 5 stuff. I couldn't even finish it after the first episode. I'm sorry, I cut it off.
See, you're a good one. I didn't start it.
I watched the first and the last
Nor did I.
episode.
Wow.
Just because I'm eventually gonna go back and watch episode 2 and 3, but I just had to see how it because I know they get out of jail, so I just
Right.
have to physically see that and be like, okay, we're good. Because I was genuinely bothered when I watched the first episode, like that night trying to go to sleep. I was like tossing and turning and stuff.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable.
So how familiar are y'all with the Central
I
Park
know
5?
the story. Yeah.
The story,
That's why
okay.
I don't want to watch it because I'm not in the mood to be
Yeah.
angry
So
at
it's-
the moment.
For the people who don't know, it's about it's a late 80s, early 90s case in New York City about 5 young black kids, probably all of them under 16.
Yeah, 14 and 15.
Yeah.
Oldest was
16 and
16.
younger.
They were
Yeah.
accused of rape and
Murder. Right?
nah, she was.
Oh, she survived?
Yeah, she survived, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But it was riot. They were when they got charged, it was rape, riot, just like when they were because they were running around the park and stuff like that.
So they got a lot of bullshit charges, falsely accused, and they spent like in a sum total 14 years in jail. Some of them, not all of them spent 14 years, but
I
close
think a
to it.
majority
7 to
was like
13 and a half
7.
years in
Yeah.
jail,
And
which
like,
Corey
yeah.
being the longest sentence in that, spending like 13 and a half.
And didn't they send him? He was like the oldest one, even though he was 16.
He was
and they sent
16,
him
so
to,
he was
like, a real
technically
prison.
Categorized as an adult. So he
Yeah.
got tried differently than all the other counterparts. So he
Yeah.
stayed in jail a lot
The
longer than
longest.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, watching the show, like the series, it was just like he wasn't even supposed to be. It was wrong place, wrong time, and for everybody, especially him. So he got it the worst because it was like
He was just their first friend.
yeah, if he would just stayed in the crib and ate some chicken with his chick, like it would have been a wrap. But I couldn't finish that series because it's just a tearjerker, bro. It's just like
It's so sad.
it's just so sad and it's unfortunate. It's like and it's all based on some bullshit. And what got me thinking about it was more about the fact that like the parents of it, like if they knew more knowledge, if they knew about their rights, or even the kids, if they knew their rights as like citizens of the United States, they could have probably
They didn't have
avoided.
to sign
But it was
nothing.
bro, off rip. If they knew their rights, nothing happens. Like
coulda walked out.
They could have walked out that day after being charged on that bullshit. Like if they knew exactly what they of the like any type of common sense about the law, it would have been quick.
So it's like that Netflix series, Making a Murder, where that kid, like,
Yeah.
Literally, I said that to
Yeah.
Nick when in Making a Murderer, his younger cousin was
he
it?
got coerced into it.
Just
basically.
talking. He's not very bright. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of resources, and he
Right.
kind of like gave a confession about Stephen Avery.
Yeah. And himself.
Steve Avery still says he's innocent. I still can't pick a side. That's besides the point. But his cousin added to the case and said,
Right.
like, your cousin said you did it. He said he was there, giving details, all that stuff,
Right.
like
He
painting
was
a
like,
picture.
Well, maybe I was. And then kind of just led to his confession. Then he ended up going to prison. He had nothing to do with whatever happened.
And to me, it's just like when we talk about being educated, because all of us at this table, we've had some sort of college or higher education level of learning. It's like I feel like we would have known if we were in that situation now. We would have dealt with it a lot better and probably prevented us being in like going into that deep as far as consequences for shit that we wasn't even responsible for. But back then, they didn't have those opportunities. Those were mostly, lower class families, kids who was just, coming up in New York City trying to make it like anybody else. But it makes you think like how being poor separates you from being educated sometimes. And I feel like now that we have information at our hands in 2019, like, are we as educated as we just are really meant to be with all this access? Because back then they at least had like it wasn't available to them.
Right.
But now it's like it is. But do we still like if you were caught up in that situation, Swaff, like would you know exactly what to do in that time?
I probably would, but whether or not, like, once the adrenaline starts running, blood pressure's high, if you think of those things that you really know, it's kind of just like accessing that information in your head, being able to know, like, okay, what's the next thing to do when I get in that situation, especially if it's the first time I've experienced it.
You think of the conditions too. They
I
had
would
them
like
there
to
for
say I
like
would.
48 hours with no food, and they were sleep deprived. And
Yeah, take myself back to 16, 15.
your younger self, not really knowing. You just want your parents, and they didn't even get that.
Yeah, and we grew up with all the access to information just like that.
Right.
Not necessarily was I checking for that shit, like, just in case I get in that situation. But over the years, I've kind of gotten that information just by hearing people's experiences, seeing stories like that. But again, it comes to that point. It's the point of when it happens. Like, we all like to say we be a hero in the moment, but now when you're faced with it, what are you going to do? All the scenarios you done thought up, what are you going to do?
Niaima, do you know your rights? Like, how much information do you know about, like...
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I mean, I'm aware. I don't think I'd get myself... If I were to get myself into a situation, I feel like I'd be able to help myself out or have my family help me out. But that's just because I'm fortunate enough. I have that privilege to be, like, open and close, and my parents are well off enough to help me out in that situation. But if it was me by myself, 15, 14... I don't know if I would have been able to.
Have you ever been pulled over?
I have a few times. Yeah. But have I gotten a ticket? No.
Oh, you just flashed a titty or something?
good.
No. Okay. First of all, I was worried.
I swear, bro, women be getting away with that bullshit, boy.
You just
You
use the
just-
period excuse, and you can get out of a ticket.
That. I use the I'm in college, and I have dreams.
So that's what happened to you last week when you got caught up?
Is that what happened? Is that what happened?
Men don't know how to deal with like the idea of blood. So I'm like, I'm just like
Right. Oh my god.
having an accident. I have to. I'm sorry. They'll be like, all right, just go. Just,
Right.
Damn,
I'm
for
just
real?
shoo you away. Yeah, because they don't want to like.
That is true.
They don't understand it. They don't want to ask you any questions. Like they're not gonna ask you to stand up.
So
they
I
can see,
can't
like,
go to a nigga and be like, hey, bro, I'm bleeding right now. I'm trying to get
something
home.
about a
Right.
period makes, especially men cops, very uncomfortable.
Very.
What about women?
It's a little harder with women.
I feel like I don't know.
You'll either get someone who's really, really understanding or
Yeah.
just an asshole.
So there's no way to
female.
get out of it with women. It's just 50.
I'm not saying that it's 50-50. With
Yeah.
men, it's more, you got a higher chance.
Yeah. It's
With
easier
that
to
excuse.
be emotional with men. Like one of my homegirls got pulled over because she was speeding, and then as soon as the cop pulled her over, she just started bawling out, crying, and he let her go. Like she was hysterically crying. I was like, she could have been unstable as fucking. You just letting her drive away like this.
So I haven't gotten a ticket either. You got to
Yeah.
finesse.
I just,
To answer
I'm a
your
college
question.
student. I don't know much. I have dreams, and just got.
You got
I
dreams.
got dreams. You gotta use that, I
Give
got
me a
dreams.
ticket.
But on a serious note, I think that like I feel like at least most of us here are like privileged enough in this day and age. I watch a lot of SVU, so I feel like I ain't saying shit till I get my lawyer. You know what I mean? That has helped me.
I'll be saying that all the
Right
time.
now.
Like where my lawyer at before anything else.
I damn near
but-
said that to my mama. She smacked the hell out of my ass, boy. I was
Why?
like, 'cause I was like, I plead the fifth. She was like,
I'm
nigga,
not-
what?
That is a good question though, and it can start from just something so simple.
Right.
Like I feel like most. Do y'all know how much you have to roll your window down when a cop stops you at a traffic stop, anything like that?
I roll
Just
it
enough
down
so they
to
can
hear
talk to you,
'em.
no?
Yeah.
What's enough to talk to you?
This much. I don't go all the way down. In this day and age, I don't go.
how,
all the way down.
how far do you pull it down when you at the drive through? I feel like it's that much.
I pull it all the way down.
I'm very comfortable in the drive.
I do it all the way down. Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't pull it all the way down for a drive through if I'm just talking in it.
I open the window so I can easily access my
Right.
food.
That's
when
if you
it's in-
grab. I'm just talking about like making your order.
Oh no,
Yeah.
all the way down. Because
All the
sometimes
way.
I can't hear you and stuff. When every time I've been pulled over, I pull my window all the way down.
Oh, so you're good.
I'm not uncomfortable.
When I'm pulled
in
over,
that
I
sense.
just get like eye
Just enough.
level.
You talking about like the dude off of Home Improvement where you just see his
Oh,
eyes?
yeah. Because I gotta get if I don't get a good feel from a cop, I've been fortunate enough where I've had pretty much almost all good experiences with cops, but not everyone can say that. So like I've seen other people's experiences, I've seen on TV. I don't want to put myself in a situation where it can lead to me being shot or me ending up in prison for some bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just try to play my cards right, where it's like I'm not gonna come off as offensive or disrespectful, but at the same time, you're not gonna disrespect me or try to harm me.
Yeah, outside of me
It's a thin
being
line, though.
in the DARE program, I've had pretty much a lot of bad incidents with cops.
Yeah, and I asked that.
You should
and
have dared.
Same here. Honestly, same here. That wasn't even a good experience for me, but I asked that question because at the end of the day, in Georgia at least, you just have to open it enough to give them your license, registration, and other documents if need
This
be.
big. You just slide
Yeah,
that
you don't
through.
really
You
need
just
a
slide
lot.
it through a little crack.
Now,
Push it out.
that's relevant because one of the gimmicks here in Georgia is they'll say they smell some shit. Oh, they smell this, smell that.
Shit, it's in the
They've
air.
tried to hit that with me, right? They've tried to hit
Right.
that with me numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
I played it different both times. I've seen how the outcome goes. So it's
Mhm.
just little ideas, little hints, knowledge of that could prevent you from having a headache or prevent things from going even further.
So here's
Maybe
my
even
question.
getting out of the car.
Those
Right.
times you got pulled over, did you have something on you?
One time I didn't. One time I did.
Some real shit.
That's
And
that's what he's basically saying. It's 50-50.
The
He
time
may,
that
he
you
may
didn't
not.
have something on you, had you just recently like smoked, to the point where like it would still be on you, on your person.
Like
No.
to give them any. type
No,
of
that
doubt.
time I didn't. When I had something on me, I didn't. When I didn't have something on me, I did. So I had it smelled like smoke, but I didn't have shit in me because I just finished the shit.
So the cops were right to pull him
That's
over.
what I'm
pretty
saying.
much
Like
what
the
it was.
question was
No, you ain't gonna
valid.
pull somebody over. It wasn't a question. He was like, I smell something.
What are they bringing that up for? What's the point?
Because it was a trap. I mean, that's just in my times. I think that was just being a jackass. One time I got a rookie cop, and so that was a whole nother discussion. Like he's trying to do everything by the book. But the other time, he was just a jackass about it, and I wasn't that. I guess I wasn't that compliant.
But you're honest.
I'm asking y'all about y'all rights and like just information about the legal system, just because just recently, and Swaf, you brought up that you know some Georgia laws that you are aware of, but most recently the biggest one that everybody's been talking about, or shit, at least for the last few months, everybody seems like it's talking about it. The anti-abortion law that just got passed, pretty much all throughout the South and some part of the Midwest. what are y'all thoughts on the bill itself?
Fuck it. You can burn in hell.
For lack of better words, I mean, I don't think they're thinking about it from a statistical point of view. This is more of like a religious decision for those who are passing the law. You're not bringing down the numbers of how many people are going to have abortions.
Exactly.
All you're doing is increasing the amount of deaths that will happen to women. Because if somebody wants to have an abortion, they will find a way to have an abortion. Regardless. They will just do it in unsafe ways, unsafe, dangerous ways.
Exactly.
Old school methods.
So for people who don't know, the governors in Kentucky, Mississippi, Ohio, and Georgia have recently approved bans on abortion once a fetal heartbeat is detected, which can happen within the first 6 weeks of pregnancy. Before many women
don't even know when they're pregnant.
before they
you don't even know when it's
for
like,
anybody who doesn't know, 6 weeks of pregnancy is like you only being 2 weeks late on your period.
Right.
That's not even like a full cycle yet. You wouldn't even notice by that time.
And Alabama's governor in particular, he or she, I don't know, is it a woman?
Alabama, I think it's a guy, but don't quote me.
Alabama's governor, regardless, signed a measure making the procedure a felony in nearly all cases.
Yeah.
So,
Whether you're
It
the
was a
doctor
woman.
who performs it,
Yeah,
was
the
that?
governor
it was a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was.
so whether you're the doctor who performs it, you can be jailed up to 99 years in prison. If you're the person who goes to get the abortion, you'll be jailed. Whether you've been raped,
I don't know
whether
about
you've
that. I don't think that's. I think that's a
So-
myth. I think that's a myth. On
Which
that.
one?
As far as the woman herself being prosecuted, I think it's all based on the doctor.
There's some
Yeah.
kind of repercussion, no?
There's something
That's
for
for
the women, I
Georgia.
thought.
They'll do
That's
it.
for Georgia.
They'll do an
heartbeat.
investigation on you as far as if you have like a miscarriage or something like that to make sure that it wasn't on some like back alley.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm running down the stairs and I'm a trip real quick type of abortion.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's for Georgia. You could be prosecuted as the actual mother
That's what I'm.
if you
that's
get something
the rule.
outside of the state. But I don't really know how they would keep track of that. But
You gotta be.
yeah, in Alabama, that's just the doctors. It's for the doctors if they perform any type of abortion.
And we're talking about these disgusting like rape cases and incest cases, and you're saying you don't even have an option to
See, I was
get
reading
rid of.
something that said that they will try the case differently if it's about rape or incest. There might be more leeway,
Yeah.
but still, the fact that you're saying that a woman can't do something to her own body that's not truly harming anyone. I'm not saying abortion is right. I'm not saying it's the most ideal route. But I'm just saying a woman should have the right to choose based on whatever her environment was or her situation was. I still think that's what's the fucked up thing. And like she said, you're not stopping abortions. You're just stopping poor people, poor women, people who aren't as privileged to go to a real doctor or access to real health care from them getting safer abortions when you're like ending things like Planned Parenthood and other centers.
Some people's result to it is like, oh, well, if you can't get an abortion in your state, go to another state. Not everybody has the means or the resources to get up on a random Tuesday and leave their kids and not go to work and get like an abortion process is like a 2 to 3 day process.
Exactly.
From the time you get the abortion done to like the recovery. Some people can't like just get up and go and then come back and then recover from that and then still have their job still waiting for them or have their kids be fed like that.
So have y'all? I mean, so obviously I know what y'all stance is. So you guys see it as it's taking away someone's freedom or like right to do what they want to
Human
do,
rights.
or do you
Yeah.
even see it from the other side as far as like this may be a good, like this could be for the best for that person?
I don't
see
say it's
how
for the
it's the
best only
best.
because you're trying to bring more children into this world when they don't even have a fighting chance. There's people. There's like 2.5 million kids last year who were homeless. You know, there's different scenarios that's going on right now that needs to be dealt with today with children, and they can't even fix those problems. We don't even have free health care in the U.S.
Kids, that's why.
Yeah.
You see why it is.
There's people there's kids in orphanages and stuff. They don't have proper access to health care. There's people who are homeless,
or
and
even the
it's
kids with homes that live in like
abusive
environments-
situations.
abusive, or just even environments don't let them thrive. They're not getting a good access to education. They don't stand a chance in this country because they have no access to having good quality things in the world that we all should have basic access to. But you're over here defending a fetus and saying that's a life that matters.
It
Okay,
has no brain activity. So to answer your question, Nick, I don't see how they're being beneficial by adding more children to parents who are unfit or to parents who are not ready
or the system.
or the system on
So-
top of more problems that we already have.
So you rather those kids not be alive at all?
No, they have. not to sound like an ass, but there's no brain activity at,
Yeah.
at 10 weeks.
Those are,
like,
I'm,
you
I'm,
know what I mean?
those are
Like,
extreme.
You'd rather them kids.
No, I'm just
What kind of
asking.
fucking
I'm
question
just
is that,
asking
bro?
a question. I'm not saying this is what y'all
Would
saying.
you?
I'm just asking like.
I'm
because
asking you now.
You asking me? Would I rather?
You rather those kids not be alive?
I didn't say that. You didn't let me finish.
That's how you asked the question. So
No,
I'm asking you.
I didn't. I asked y'all the question. I was like, so would you? Because basically you were talking about population. Well, not population control, but it's just more
that's
like
another whole nother
It's
problem.
That's a whole nother.
it was.
problem.
This is a Thanos comment. I mean, to be honest, but it's just
Dan
more.
Brown
It
comment.
sounds like for what you would foresee for the child if it was to be born, it'll be a shitty life. So
Right.
why
Because as
bring
soon
a
as that
child
kid
into a
is
shitty
born,
life?
It's not gonna get the love that this fetus is getting at the moment. All this attention, all this funding to close these things down, and all this attention to make these laws. That child, once it's born into this world, will not be. No one will think about that kid.
Remember, we're
Because
just
no one
talking
thinks
about
the kids
America
now.
at this point. You know what I'm saying? There's
Exactly.
like other countries who have such worse
conditions
and circumstances.
But what if
wars.
it's not? What if that's not the case? What if it's just like a well-off woman, well-off man?
She should
They
still
got-
have the
they
right
got-
to make that choice.
they
'Cause it's
got-
her body.
They was bumper uglies. It was a drunk night, one night stand. She ended up pregnant, or like she's showing signs of pregnancy early, and she's like, I really don't fuck
That's
with
her
this dude.
choice. She's the one carrying it for 9 months. She's the one that got to bring it into this world. That's her responsibility for the rest of her life. And if she doesn't want that right now, because she was being stupid, I'm not saying just go out and have an abortion every time you know.
But is there a limit to that?
I think, again, because it's a woman's body, I'm not saying you should just go out and have abortions for fun. I personally, I don't agree with that. I don't know if I'd ever have an abortion because just of how I was raised, what I was brought up in, and religion and stuff like that. But there are certain situations where I know I would if I was raped or, God forbid,
Yeah, but I feel like those are people focus in on those
Or
things.
a bum nigga fucked you.
But I feel
Put
like,
it like that, but
people focus in on like the rape, the incest,
Right.
But I'm like,
But-
those are like outliers,
but
right?
let's
That's not
say-
really happening on a like you
We're
know.
talking about a day to day. You just
Yeah.
kicking it with somebody.
If
and
you
get
at Planned
pregnant, like,
Parenthood, you know what I'm saying? It ain't a bunch of incest,
yeah.
hillbilly ass
But
motherfuckers in there.
that
Like,
woman
it's
still
just,
isn't ready.
it's just like it's like it's Diane from work, and
You had a bad night.
yeah she regrets Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it
Mitchell
is.
wouldn't be a good
Diane
father.
and Mitchell.
The whitest of
So let's reverse the situation, right? Say America was what's the word I'm looking for? Like an oasis. We had great free health care for everybody,
It's a dream.
and children weren't homeless, and everything was well balanced the way it should be. I still don't agree with this law because it's
a
like
woman's body.
you're taking away human rights from people. What do we
Simple.
fight for this? Like,
But-
what was the
Okay,
argument for?
so what it seems like, because
So it's not about the possibility of what conditions the kids could be
It's
in, but it's
both.
more about the rights of the women. And for real, shit, our rights too, because we got to say in this shit too at the end of the day. Man, we have that right to have that conversation with y'all. 'cause
There's some
it's
couples
part
who
us
sit
too.
down. There's couples who sit
Some-
down and have
most-
conversations.
Y'all
about that.
have
most
like,
women would disagree with you, bro.
I don't
what,
disagree.
that we don't have
I
a
don't-
say in it?
I think you have a say. I think
Right.
the final decision.
Whether
is
you're-
The
based
final,
on the
yeah,
woman, but
the
he has a
decision comes to y'all at the end of the day.
Say. I expect him to be okay.
No, I'm
But
saying
we can't even have that conversation with these laws.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
there really
It's not even
what's-
gonna get brought up because it takes time to first discover it. Then like y'all got to make y'all decision pretty much. I feel like they make their decision before they even bring it up to us. But
that's what I'm saying. What's the whole point of having to say if it don't really matter?
Because that conversation could be a
It still
game
should
changer.
be.
Yeah.
Let's say we're dealing with a couple, right? Or not even a couple. There's people who, the girl is like, I'm too young. I can't do this. Like she already, like how you said, okay, she already made up her mind before she came, but she has the respect now to come to you and talk to you. You might say some shit like, look, I have money stored away. Like I could take care of both of you. Like you make her feel safe. There are instances where she will change her mind and keep the child, like it shouldn't be a one person decision because it wasn't one person who created the
We talking about
fetus.
Exactly.
consensual sex.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, but at the end of the day, like y'all was saying, it's a woman's choice.
Yeah.
So
because
it's like,
her
what's the
body.
point? Like,
I think
either
it's-
whether he wants to be with like. If she doesn't want it, she don't like. It's not going down. You know what I'm saying? No matter what he say,
Right.
no matter how he feel, he could either want it, he could not want it. It don't really matter.
I think it's the moral thing to do.
it does
Because-
matter. It does matter
Yeah.
because if we do have a little bit more, at least we have a little bit more influence than
Not
you think.
not until the baby is
Because at the
born.
end- yeah.
when
'cause
the
at
baby is
end
born,
of
you
the
have
day-
influence. Out before that, there's
No, that's not true. Because at the end of the day, most cases, if it's consensual and you was working on this, you have a little bit of influence on them in general. Vice versa. Like, you can get her open to the point where she's now open ears. Mm-hmm. I had an experience like that where I had to have that conversation, and I didn't like it, but I had to become a little bit manipulative in that sense because I didn't want that. And I didn't know if she did or not, but I couldn't take that risk. So I had to I had to spin things to a point where it's like I really had to mind fuck her, bro. I hate to say it, but I had to make her think that I wanted it, but it was the best for us not to have it. And that's what niggas are gonna do.
You know what's funny is because I think I'm on the opposite end. Because I was at first I was like, when I was younger, and you know I'm young, it's crazy. I was in a situation, right, where I thought the girl she was pregnant, right? And before then I was like, I'm pro life, bro. Like if I'm laying in the bed, like you make the, what is it? You lay in the bed that you make. Yeah, that bullshit. So I was like, all right, before then I was like, all right, if I ever have a kid, if I ever fuck up, I'm gonna stand up, take care of my responsibility. Mm-hmm. So when this motherfucker told me that she was thinking she pregnant, I'm like, that shit. Immediately I flipped. I was like, all right, bitch, we gonna go in.
Let's go now.
They got 2 for $10s. Go ahead. Buy one, get one.
That is not.
I was like, bro, we gonna split this bitch right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna, I'll come to where you at. You know what I'm saying? We'll handle it. It's a wrap. Like,
that's natural too, but that's because that's you being scared, and I was that same way. I was scared. I almost said that shit to her, like, oh, that shit dead. Chop shop. ASAP.
Can we refrain from using
sorry,
certain
my
words talking about abortion?
My bad, y'all.
But technically, it is.
Chop,
I mean,
chop.
at the end of the day, we're talking about killing babies,
but
right?
thank God,
Yes.
I've never been so
to
happy
be
to
vain about
have
it.
like a lying, dirty slut in my corner because she lied about the shit, and I was like,
Oh,
thank
damn.
God you dirty. Ooh, I was scared for a second. Like, that's what it all came about. Like, man, we ain't fucking.
Bruh.
We
Nah,
know
for
we ain't
me-
fucking with each other. No
For me,
more.
it was. I had to look in the mirror. I'm like, damn, bro, I don't even know who this nigga is. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I thought I was pro life. A nigga flipped quick. That's like, it's like when you
Shit.
When you
think
look around at your circumstances,
Yeah.
sometimes that
Shit
shit can
changes.
be. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I went to
like,
pro-choice
we were all
dumb
raised the
quick.
same way in
Yeah.
terms of our religion and stuff, and it's beat down into your head like, nah, that's wrong. It's wrong, but like, it's wrong. Yes,
it's wrong.
You might be in school,
But I
you
wanna
might
be
be
happy.
home.
How am I gonna go
How
to
you
my
gonna do
mother
it?
as a young lad? Like, hey,
Oh my God.
Not even
you're
your
gonna be a
parents.
grandmother. Like,
No,
It's more like
so
your
many
situation. Like,
Yeah.
I can't provide for this. kid.
Exactly.
Like,
So
in
many
9 months, what the fuck can I give this child?
And I'm gonna be happy coming home to this motherfucker because I'm like, I'm busting my ass
Right.
for this nigga that I don't even want. Like,
Like-
I didn't plan for.
So that's another conversation I even have an issue with the abortion laws. Is like, there's some really bad parents out there, like
Right.
fucked up
Unfit.
parents
Unfit.
who are just unfit, have no need to be even having sex just because of the risk of having a child. Like, and you are now forcing teenagers, and I'm only using teenagers because they're normally the most irresponsible ones when it comes to sex and being protective. And you're just giving them, you're just throwing it at, like, here, take it. You have to. I don't care what situation you're in. I don't care what your family looks like. I don't care.
But
You know
Take the
what's
baby,
fucked-
like-
no, you know what's fucked up though? In that same discussion on the opposite side, it's like a lot of the greatest motherfuckers we know came from a situation just like
Or
that.
a single mom.
I don't know who
teenage.
LeBron James' daddy is. So that was one person who had a bad situation, but at the same time, that doesn't stop their greatness.
Not even-
It's just more obstacles for them to overcome, just like all of us had.
not even an absent father. Like, if you look at the Wayans brothers or the Wayans family, like they had a mother and father in the household, and they had a lot of kids. And those kids, they talk about how poor they grew up. You know what I'm saying?
There's
And,
so
like,
many of them.
There was so many of them, but they grew up, ended up being, the best comedic family of all time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when we talk about
I don't
certain,
know. Then we can say a lot of things because there's a lot of bad motherfuckers in this world.
yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah,
gonna be
bad
good, but you don't
motherfuckers
know.
coming
If
from
we're talking
happy
about
households.
the
Yeah.
statistics of how many people come from these bad situations and make it, that's not
Right.
a lot of statistics. Like, we still got a whole
That's
bunch
still
of
not
kids.
enough to like.
But making
it's
is what you
fucked up.
what you
Right.
think of it, like, because some people, yeah, they're not gonna be like rich and famous, but they can still be a productive person in society. You know what
they
I'm
could,
saying?
Yeah.
but what if they never even just? I just don't ever want to see my kids struggle because I wasn't able to provide for them.
Let's get
But,
out
like,
of the
what if-
narrative of putting kids
Like,
in
my
bad
parents struggled. I don't wanna
situations
struggle.
growing up. They're kids, like, And it's not their fault that they're put in a
Right.
situation, but like,
But why does abortion need to be an option outside of health reasons?
why does it need to be an option?
Yes.
Because it's a woman's choice. I don't know.
Is
how
there
to
anything
break-
like? Can you give me anything more than that outside of what that simple?
I just don't know why we have to define that as something. It's a woman's
Well,
body.
because it's like
It's her right to decide.
Yeah, it's
if
her
I
right
wanna
to-
bring someone into this world or not.
it was her right to decide to, like you said, it's two to tango. Like it was,
Right.
it was,
Yeah.
it was,
They
it was.
laid down together. I
They
get
laid
that.
down together. They made some bad choices, obviously, because they don't want it anymore, or
Right.
she doesn't want it anymore. So, like I was saying, like how many times? Because at the end of the day, like if you left the thing alone, it grows up to be a baby or
Right.
potentially a baby, right? But when you stop it, that's stopping a life that possibly had somebody that could be the next president, that could be the next serial killer. You never know, but it could be. Is it your? When is it like not your decision to? Not your decision, but when do you draw the line where it's like
If you're
it's
out
it's a
here-
more it's a really like a morality
Okay,
type
this
of thing.
is what I would start judging. I don't judge women who get abortions, but if I know somebody that is just having condom free sex all the time, doing whatever she wants to do, I'm like, all right, cool, that's her body. But she's getting pregnant countless times, doing this shit, then going having abortions, and then doing the same shit over again, just abortion, sex. That's when I'm like, bitch,
Like
you
you have to be
crazy.
responsible in your part too,
Right.
because what I'm noticing, sometimes even when I'm talking to different people, there's a lot of people out here who are misinformed about like how sex works.
Oh yeah,
And like how your body works and like how you protect yourself from certain things. Like there's some people who will have unprotected sex and their solution to that is to take a Plan B pill after
Right.
every time they have sex.
right.
That shit will kill your body. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
You ain't having kids after that forever. Like if you keep doing shit like that.
and I only say that to say there's some people who are very, very responsible and they're that 1% who gets pregnant and birth control failed them that one time. And there's some people who are fucking reckless.
Right.
I knew a girl back in New York who in one summer she had about like 2 abortions. Technically it was 3 because the first one was 1 kid and the second one was twins.
Damn.
Wow.
So it was like, I was very young at the time. She was like an indirect friend, but like I remember looking at her like, I don't want to judge you, but it's like you're putting yourself in a situation that you're messing with a
Exactly.
guy that you don't really like. You guys are not really in a relationship. You're not really
But-
stable.
but to-
you're
but-
being
but to your
unprotected.
First, she got 2 abortions.
She got 2 abortions. One was 1 kid, and the second one was twins. So technically, she
Oh,
had like
damn.
3 abortions.
So you
if
said
you want
ain't wanna
to do
judge her,
numbers,
but you got 3 bodies.
Exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
and but my issue with her is that she was being irresponsible,
She's-
like she was saying, like
Continue
But to
put
y'all
yourself
point,
in
but
that
y'all
situation.
original point was like you said when I asked you
And
the
that's
question.
why I said okay. That's why I specifically said I will judge you. That's when I'm start being. Oh, I'm a bit judgy. I'm like, bitch.
I'm judging you,
I'm
but
judging you.
no judgment.
But at the end of the day,
she still has the right to do what she's doing because this is America. Abortion
But-
should be your choice up to a certain whatever.
what if abortion had a high mortality rate?
For the mom?
Yeah.
This isn't like the 30s or 20s or whenever that shit was terrible.
technology is way too advanced for
We're
that.
way too advanced.
It has, but we go off so many principles that were based on the 30s. Like, shit, most of I'm talking about like the Declaration of Independence, the motherfucking amendments. Those were based back in the day, and we try
Right.
to follow that to a T.
Yeah.
So as times have evolved, obviously technology's
problem
evolved,
with
this shit
that-
has gone down, but the principles remain for the most part.
I mean, that's why we still have protesters and stuff standing outside of Planned Parenthood all the time. Like, there's people who just. I'm not here to change people's opinions about
Right.
abortions. All I'm saying is that there should be options.
Thank you.
yes, I agree. And my
You know,
my
like,
my
if
motto.
you're against it or you're with
Yeah.
whatever, I don't care what your opinion is. I know
But
what
the
my
woman should
opinion
still
is.
have
And
the right to either
Yeah.
get one or not get one.
My motto is like the best thing in life you can have or you can give someone is options.
Exactly.
But my thing is when it comes to like life in general, like we have laws that prevent people from, or that try to prevent people from committing murder. We have people like if you murder someone, you will go to jail for this amount of time. If you, even manslaughter, like there's different degrees of murder.
So do you consider abortion murder? Is that
No.
what you're leading to?
I'm just saying like the government itself inserts its power when it comes to how it, governs life.
Right.
So this is a law that the government is trying to insert its power on how it governs life. Why is this looked at so differently
This
than
one is
others?
a problem because there's one thing you need to understand about government. We always were supposed to separate church and state. government shouldn't be ruled alongside religion.
So you think this is a religious issue?
Oh,
This is
yeah,
a
for
religious-
sure.
Look at the southern states. Look
Yes.
at these.
Have you looked at the
Baptist
group of
white
men who are
churches.
voting on this?
Yeah.
They're all like 50 to 70-year-old white men
Right.
who have been in Congress for X amount of
long
years.
But there's a white woman
Same
who
with
passed
women.
this bill.
Same
She grew
with
up- She
women.
was raised by these white men. She's in the field with these white.
There's no
White women
diversity.
value
There's
being
no
white more than
representation.
being a woman. That's what we learned from that last election. They truly valued being white and not having rights as a woman for whatever reason. I've accepted that. Just white, like most white women value being white. The ones that voted for Trump, in my opinion. This little abortion thing now is the same thing where it's like, this is how things should be done. This is what I believe in. This is the right way of doing it. And that's what the problem is. It's not even, you're not even putting it up for debate. You feel truly this is right because it's biblical or for some other reasons. This is how you guys grew up.
Because to this day, I still haven't heard any like medical reasons as to why we should stop abortion.
There's no true reason.
I'm just getting the, oh, well, it's wrong. It's
wrong.
immoral. You're killing a life.
You're killing-
Got it.
Okay, so what about the lives
Medically.
we kill with when we're going overseas for whatever?
And that's the thing. I feel like it is about the rhetoric because they try to use words like murder and
Yeah.
it makes it sound intentional. You know what I'm saying?
when
Like
you have some people
controlled
break it
all
down,
these
yeah.
factors that led to this moment, but really, it's not as much murder as it is fatal to some extent because there are gonna be people who believe that once you have that heartbeat,
Right. That's a
is
person.
life. So it is
Right.
fatal to some extent.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it's intentional. That doesn't mean like you are the reason for this. It's really just the combination of your circumstances and what happened.
Right.
The actions you took, you play a part, but you have to, for the better of yourself and y'all who would know the better what's best for you than women. I just see it like
trying to sit here and
you
think,
take
would
that
I feel
choice away
better?
from them and away from y'all, and it's kind of like
Would I feel
That's
better if it was
fucked up.
a group of women who made a decision? I'm really trying to sit here and like
Nah.
put it on the other side. Like, would I feel better that a group of women who understand the body a little bit more made the decision?
See,
and I
but look
can't
at what
say
you're
yes
saying,
either way.
Made
Like,
the decision. That's the problem. It's like you lose that. Like these people are making a decision for you. What are our rights as citizens in that fact then?
do you think we should have voted on it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to her extent, like there's certain things where you govern your own life too. So you have your own laws that are
You
even
live by.
more strict than the laws that are in place as is.
Right.
So even if weed is legal in motherfucking Seattle, there's motherfuckers who aren't gonna smoke it. That's their law.
Right.
So that could be
But
the
there's
same.
the
That's how
option.
I feel like the abortion should be like, yeah, okay. If this family is okay with it, that doesn't necessarily mean that in my culture, in my family, I have to. That's my law. That's how I govern my home.
But those are that's the definition of being pro-choice. Like you letting other people choose how they do things, as long as they're not. Well, it's hard to
They're
say.
doing
It's hard to say
harm.
not to harm yourself and others because you are.
But who's
when you get an
abortion
abortion, you kind
harming? Who's an abortion harming besides
well, it's
the mother and
it's
fetus?
harming the potential life.
the potential life that might have a worse life?
It's harming
It might,
the.
but you don't. Like
You don't know.
now
I
you're
don't know.
Now you're choosing.
Hey, I got a theory. That's
has
not
no
really
brain
a theory. It's a
activity, though.
popular theory.
Mhm.
It's harming the white community. Abortion could very well. You see who's voted on it. You see who has made quote unquote decisions, and you'll see a pattern that it feeds into the agenda, like I said, of keeping that majority in the white community, because it's coming fast. Look, I hate to say it, but us Latino people, we gonna grab that.
So are you black or Latino, bro? Let me know right now.
I'm both because
Let
that's
me
the only
be
way
mixed.
we'll
You
get
can't be
majority.
both.
That's
You
the only
can't
way
be
we'll
both.
get
You can
majority.
be both.
You can't be both.
You
bro.
can't be both.
Why
That's
can't
the
you
only
be
way we'll
both?
get majority.
Because he say he pro-black. He can't be pro-black and saying that he like this. My
That's
Latino.
where he is from. That is
He's not
his
from there.
background.
He's from Cincinnati.
His family, the same way I identify as like, oh, my family's Jamaican. Like that's your that's where you are from. Like
It is what it is,
Yeah.
bro.
But you consider
like,
yourself
you can
black.
try
You can be
to, you
both.
can deny it,
I
but
didn't-
at the
I
end of the
didn't-
day, I'm not gonna do
Deny
that.
it.
Like
He don't even say he Afro. He said he black, and then now he's saying, "Oh, I'm Latino." Like,
yeah, because
Bruh.
that's
What?
who's it? Your
What's
mother,
that?
or your father? That's from
my mama.
like, I don't.
you
He's
gotta pick,
Latino.
you gotta
He's
She's a
a
pick- you gotta
Mexican.
pick-
Like I didn't ask for that.
you gotta pick a side though. That's what I'm saying.
It's
Why
been
can't
hard.
I
It's
pick a
not.
side?
Hasn't even been like, bro. It's not even the easier route. You should be blessed that some people consider you a nigga off rip, and then you let them know down the line, like, oh yeah, I'm African, by the way.
Throw it in there.
Like, why are you so happy?
That's
It's,
the
Uganda's
original-
Independence Day.
That's the original nigga. I'm the OG nigga. That's all it is.
You the original nigga.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What? Because you don't identify as African? That's the original nigga. But either way, I digress. What was I saying before you motherfucker? I interrupted
Or
me.
you got
Shit.
it.
He was basically saying that you saying that the Hispanic population is taking over.
No. Basically, I was saying that abortions do serve the purpose of keeping majority in the white community, because in a lot of states, as far as percentiles, abortions are happening most with white people.
Oh yeah, growing up, I'm not gonna say names, not gonna say.
Call
it was
them
a lot of
out.
white girls.
Gee.
Call them out.
A lot of the white girls in the private schools, Catholic schools, they were the ones mostly because they could afford abortions first and foremost.
Right.
Their parents already knew what was up. You know, they have that like, oh yeah, as long as she's doing it at home and she's open with me, I'm cool with it. I got her on the pill at this age. Little girl flips up, mom will take her to an abortion clinic, and they have a safe route of doing that. This won't harm anyone except the poor population by giving
And
them
that's
this pill.
No matter what the race
minorities.
is.
Minorities, exactly.
No matter what the race is.
No matter what the race is, this is targeting poor communities.
You know what I
'cause
can't
America
take?
don't give a fuck about poor
I cannot
people.
take about our generation that everybody's so fucking bothered by everything. Like, mind your business.
It's not just our generation. It's like it's people. It's
It
humans.
has nothing to do with you. Like,
Humans-
why does it bother you so much?
because-
Same thing with like gay rights. Like, why
Yeah,
do you
oh
go
my
so
God.
hard about like
Because
other
people-
people's sexuality?
Because
Exactly.
people, like you said, like what Swaff was talking about, people have their own way of doing things. They govern them own selves.
And they want every single person to be like a robot and follow that.
it's comfortable
same,
for them
like,
that way. It's comfortable that way.
Uniform, like if the more uniform you are, the safer you feel.
Exactly.
Now when
I
you
just feel
get
like it's a way to control people.
yeah, we came up when it was a smorgasbord, so we're used to seeing different faces, different
Yeah.
places.
It's a
That's
great
not
way to
the s-
live.
That's not the same. That's not the same for I feel like the people who are in power. And
Yeah, the previous generations.
All they know is white.
It is. It's
yeah,
true. White
they
was
govern
right.
the land. Why they're gonna do everything to keep that and maintain.
Well, it
that.
ain't just. I mean, it ain't just white people who supporting this bill though. Like we got to be honest. Like it's
Mm.
people in the black community that feel the same way. Most, like you were saying,
Yeah.
Nima's religious ties.
It's
so,
a lot of religious things.
Yeah, so it's like it's people all across the board. It's just that.
I feel like it's.
I mean, outside of
safer.
white people, religion is where it stops.
What do you mean by that?
As far
Oh,
as if you're
like-
supporting it,
Yeah, because a lot
It
of people
stops at
use that.
religion.
Yeah. That's-
Nah, some people just. I mean, some people ain't religious. They still support the abortion law.
I don't know. Majority of people I've heard why they support it is because it's what I believe.
I'm just saying that's
Like-
what you heard. But like, there's people who don't speak
Do you
up.
know
that
No,
much.
I'm
anybody?
sure.
Huh?
I'm sure. I just can't. Think
Yeah, I
of
know
anyone.
some people.
you know some people who said they just don't like it. And
Yeah.
not for religious
Like they
reasons.
just feel like
Stop
Yeah.
hanging out with them.
So they care about it to the extent, or they
Not-
just don't
not
care
good
about
for
it.
you.
Like
No, they.
it's
they,
not a
they-
religious thing to them.
Yeah, it's not a religious.
anything
Yeah,
to them.
it's just like I just.
Well, then
I
that's
just,
not going. That's not even having a stance at that.
No,
point.
I'm saying they're saying like I don't want.
Like, I agree.
I agree with
That's
the
all they're
bill.
saying.
I just,
I
yeah, I
agree.
just it has nothing to do with me being religious or nothing like that. It's like I just agree with the thing, and I'm like, okay. I mean, there's a conversation. That's what I'm saying. There's a conversation on both sides. I don't want to always make it seem like there's only one way to do things because there's never just one way to do things, or there's not one outlook on life in general. You can see both sides. You can pick which side you want to be on, but you can still see both sides. Like there's a reason. Like for example, like what if I told y'all like I was a child of rape, like and like my mom got raped by somebody, and if what you guys have considered like the reasons why you want this abortion is to get rid of people like that, you be like, well then I wouldn't be here, and then
I'm
how
not
would
saying-
would y'all think?
No, we're not saying that's the reason.
But I'm just saying like there's people out there who are children of rape,
Mhm.
and like they're living productive lives,
right. 'Cause
and
their
some people
mom
will say they
choose.
shouldn't live that. Some
No.
people.
No, I don't think if your mom survived that and decided to have you, that is beautiful. More power to her. Some women can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? And those women who feel like
are
they
a
can't
constant
should have that
reminder
choice.
of
Okay, but
person
then
who
but then
abused
couldn't
her.
you just say like I'll go back to the question like there's other options. You guys talk about
So what's the other
options.
Yeah,
options?
there's
Adoption.
adoption, but
You
that
can give the
woman
baby
feels-
up.
and that's
So
fine. A
so
woman should
I
have that
now,
choice too.
the person who didn't want to have a kid, have to go through 9 months of carrying a baby,
Making it more attached to you,
delivering that baby.
painful as fuck.
It looks like me, may have my eye color, and then I'd be like,
Here you
here, take it.
The attachment.
I didn't
that
even
you
want it.
form, the
But that's-
amount of
but that's
moms
an
I know
option,
that,
though,
like,
right?
miscarriage later, or their baby didn't survive long. Like my mom had a miscarriage after, not a miscarriage. She had her second son. He died after a few weeks. The attachment she still feels to that baby after only knowing him like 2 weeks is like she raised him like the way she raised me and my brother.
Yeah, but that's
hard to give up.
but that's
You're
a
right. That's an
specific-
option, but at this point, it's not an option. It makes that the route.
What do you mean?
That's the only way you can
Think of
go
how many kids
if
are
you're
in.
not ready for the kid.
No,
Right.
no, no. I understand it. I'm not saying that abortion should be off the table. I'm just
'Cause
saying
if you put
there's
abortion
other
on the
options.
table, that's still an option.
There's other options outside of abortion. That's what I'm saying. Like just because.
So
you
why do we
can
have to
kill it-
regulate
Right. There's other.
abortions? Why can't we regulate the whole orphanage
already,
system
that's
that we have
already
going
regulated.
on. It's not.
What do you
It's
mean
a-
it's not?
It's a terrible system.
But I'm saying there's already a system.
There was a
set
system
up.
for abortion
Right.
too.
Exactly.
People were having abortions willy nilly. You couldn't even have an abortion after like what was it, like 12 weeks, something like that.
It's not a really
Yeah,
a
there's
system for.
There's a system for abortion. I feel
Yeah,
like it's
a
probably more
safer-
effective than the system.
I think
for
it's a smaller
adoption.
It's a
If
smaller
anything.
system. That's what I mean. Like it's not like I don't think you can. It's not easy to get an abortion. I wouldn't think. I was like
I'm talking about right now.
Now, yeah, but
I mean, if you compare it to adoption, it's not as common.
because I feel like
Abortion is easier to do than trying to adopt
Yeah.
a child.
definitely.
no try. I'm
By
saying
far.
I'm saying giving up a child for adoption, not trying to adopt a child.
Even it's just
There's
both
paperwork and shit
options.
involved in all that. Like
There's paperwork, but there's also an emotional thing that women go through on either or side. You giving up your child at abortion, I feel like that's something you have to deal with for a long time. Maybe you want to rekindle that later, or maybe you just want to forget it ever happened. Either way, there's an emotional attachment. Same with an abortion. Like women are scarred for a while or for life, or some might not be at all, whatever. There's an emotional thing that comes with that. But what we're not saying that these women shouldn't have had their kids. We're not saying like, oh, if you're a product of rape or incest, kill your baby. Nah, we're just saying if you don't want that baby, you have the right to not have it.
and like you said,
all it
that's
is.
based on circumstances.
Circumstances.
I'm just
If you
saying,
look
like,
around
yeah.
and be like, not the right time,
Right.
you should be able to just not play God, but like have the executive decision to be like, I know that this child is not gonna be good. Whether I give it up for adoption and
Right.
put it in the orphanage care system, it's not gonna have a good life.
Right.
Or whether I keep it and have it live here with me, it's still not gonna have a good life. So it's like,
Yeah, pretty much all facets of adoption are harder and more stressful on
Right.
the woman.
Right.
Like you build a connection. You to some extent you have to change your lifestyle for 9 months.
watching what you
At-
eat. Your
right,
life,
at
say
least
you had a crazy party every weekend, you
Yeah.
a bottle girl, something lifestyle. That's just a random
Just
example.
even
Right,
like
and-
work and
and like you
everything
s-
changes.
Yeah, and your body changes too. So
Right.
it's a physical, it's an emotional, it's a mental lifestyle change that you have to go through.
Right.
With abortion, it takes a toll on the physical. I do think it takes a toll on the mental, but you don't have to really change your mentality or your lifestyle too much to that
After.
extent.
But I feel like
you'll
that
have a
still
little
has.
I think it's like what, a 3-month period or something, like where you have to be diligent on taking a pill, etc. You
But-
gotta be on point with the shit. But
But
You talking
Nima,
about,
you
like,
just
a birth
said
control
that.
pill?
no, I'm talking about.
I
like,
think
they had
there's an
a-
emotional thing
they got a
just
little pill
because
that
The
for the
abortion
abortion.
pill is on the day of. After you heal after those 2 days, you bounce back and you can go back to work.
Hold on, but like,
that's not a long
but
process.
like what Neiman was saying, like even if someone had it for like 2 weeks and they lost it, like they're still
There's
they
an
still
emotional
they
tie.
still like they still think about it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's
Yeah.
emotional tie either way.
Right,
You had
right.
something
But
growing inside
how
you.
long is that after? That's after 6 weeks. Are you comparing the 6 weeks to, or 6 weeks, however long you find out? You're comparing
I
that.
mean, I
I
can't.
think it's
to
relative to the woman.
That's
9
what I'm saying.
months,
Like
8
it
months?
don't matter what I think. It's just it depends on the woman. Like
I think
Okay,
it
do y'all
is-
think that compares? Do you think you compare that time to 8 months, 9 months when you are now changing? You're changing your lifestyle. Your body's changing.
I
I
think
think
wrong
it's
because
with
just
the
it.
two
labor that
different
went into it.
things, Yeah, and also it's just the fact that like regardless of what we say, abortion is terminating something, and you made that choice to do that, and you kind of have to deal with that consequences. The consequences of a baby won't come from this anymore, which would have been a major life changer, but still at the end of the day, you made that choice, and you're just like, I have to deal with this. There might be some emotional baggage with that because it's a big decision. You know what I mean?
I don't
Like
think
it's a debate for a reason.
women are just having like abortions like.
Left and right, like just
And
fucking.
like, alright.
niggas having-
And you don't know
That's a
that,
very
though.
rare- I think that's a rare thing, bro.
So,
I'm
there's
not
some
saying
people.
that. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying like I don't know. I don't like to speak on generalities as far as
Yeah.
what people do because I don't know what we all do all types of shit when
Right.
ain't nobody looking. You know
But
what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
think that's like the most common case for us to be like, yeah, this is what women do. This is why we need to like limit abortions or put a ban on abortions.
Do you think there
Women's-
should be a limit on abortion per person per woman?
Again, that's like me making the choice for her. Again, I just don't. That's the problem.
No, but I mean like, but do you, based on your judgy ass, like,
Yeah.
what's the number for you?
Where I start judging somebody. Okay, within the span of 6 months, let's say you got an abortion every month.
No,
for
I'm
6
just talking about in.
I'm judging
Damn.
you.
I'm talking about.
Just every month. You just
I'm talking
get an
about. Is there a
abortion.
number in general, like from when they're born to when they die? How many abortions did they have in their lifetime?
I don't want to. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay,
I'm not gonna speak that.
so
out
this
there.
is going back to
Barely
that
put those
conversation.
I mean, yeah. it's-
So you saying it's a time frame? Like you can have as many abortions, just don't have them all close together.
It's the whole intentional thing. If you're just out here fucking people, for me, I'm not saying this is how the government should think at all. Women have the right. Let me clarify. All right.
Speak your truth, man. There's no
No,
disrespect.
it's
man.
real.
Say how it is.
No, because
I'm gonna say some shit.
I already know you about that. But my point is, you shouldn't just. I think the same way. Like, okay, for drinking and driving, If you over here drinking and driving, one time you get pulled over for a DUI, you shouldn't drink and drive anymore. Like, you already know what the consequence was. You faced it, right?
But what if they keep drinking and driving?
They're stupid. They're just stupid, and I'm judging them.
So are you gonna take their license away?
Because they're harming
Yes.
someone at that drink. Okay, maybe drinking and driving wasn't because that's harming other people on the road. But my point is, you're constantly being reckless. You're constantly, because you have a way out. You know what I mean? But I don't think a lot of women do that. I don't think women are just out here having sex and having abortions. We have birth control. We have condoms. We have people being.
There's
safe.
But not people
Options.
have access to that type of healthcare.
Nigga, pull out.
So
Damn.
now it's on the
Now
nigga. Now it's on the nigga.
Not
So
to
this
be a nigga
goes-
to pull out.
This
on
goes
a
back to
nigga.
that conversation
But-
that we were talking about, like with the regulations and stuff.
Right.
So like, I don't have a number right now, right?
Give me a
I don't
number.
have- I don't have a number.
I need
No,
a number.
You see, when you're about to do plastic surgery, they have the doctors sit down and have like consultations with you, and they do like a psych exam to make sure that you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. I could see that being applied here. Like, if you're going to a clinic, there should be some maybe like a database or something that we can keep track, and then like maybe by your fourth one, we could be like, all right, what's
What's the real problem
what's
here?
going on? Like,
Yeah.
are
But
you
you
just
still
not
gonna- but you-
educated enough?
What if
Are
she
you-
just say like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to get rid of this nigga.
that's we should treat this like cases.
But
Well,
then,
right,
but like,
you treat it like
but
case.
you,
If she
so then-
says that, well then,
Will you
shit.
Now,
stop-
now an investigation should
but
be
how,
pulled
would you
on
stop her from getting it then? At
her.
that
If
point,
I was the doctor, yes, me.
but then she can just go to someone else.
That's their choice
right,
to
but
treat
that
her.
she
And
has
that's
the
the
choice to do
doctor's
that.
choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that doctor's
That's the
morals.
whole
I can't stop
personal-
that.
So now it's on the doctor. It's not on the woman.
No, it's on the
No,
woman
no,
too.
the
She should
woman's
be-
still making the choice.
No, because the doctor has to go
It's
through
not
it.
like the doctor's gonna be like, no, we're not doing it. They're gonna give them no reasons. They're gonna tell their spiel,
Yeah.
and it's we're humans, bro. We hear shit. It's rationale. Like,
I'm just saying, if we're gonna spend
if
all
you
this
came
money
in
like
there thinking
regulating,
logically, talking about I don't give a fuck. You was on like you thinking like a certain way where you don't even have a reason for
Right.
acting.
Right.
So what?
You have a reason for acting whether you know it or not. You just whether you're getting down to it.
we're gonna spend all this money passing this bill and trying to regulate. Let's try and do it a different way. Let's try to like get in these people's head. Like what?
Is there a number? I want to know a number. Is there a number, Swaff?
No, hell no, there's
I
no
don't-
number.
there can't be a number.
Because let's say I'm messing with some ratchet bitch who I know is liable to get an abortion.
Why she gotta be ratchet?
I mean, she don't got to, but
She,
she's dirty.
she could be uppity, bitch.
But most likely she gonna be ratchet if she getting as many abortions as I'm thinking in my head. And it's like, damn, you again? Like, I know what you're thinking. Again. yeah. Yeah,
I fucked up.
if
again.
I fuck with her though and I connect with her and she my nigga or she like I just like her in my life, then I'm not gonna judge her.
All right.
But if she had a character with it, she had a pocket with the shit, like what is going on?
All right.
You're doing too
There's
much.
a deeper.
So it's
thing.
different.
Yeah.
Every person has a number. Like you got one.
So y'all done?
Everybody got
All right,
one to
what
me.
you- well, let Nick say what he gotta say. He got some shit.
It's not really, and it's not based because I'm gonna give a number, but it's not based on the number. My reasoning comes from.
So you can't even answer your own question.
No, I'm gonna answer the question. I'm
What's
just gonna
your
say
number?
this is it. I feel like it's. I'm all for pro-choice because you got to give women options, but I do feel like as far as everything else we do in this country, there is a regulation to it, right?
Mhm.
And there's laws that, like Swaff was saying, that have been since way before even our grandparents were born, have been in place to keep everything regulated, to keep a society of these many people organized and, somewhat civil. So I think when it comes to something like this, while I do agree that women should have the right to choose whether they want to or not keep it, I do think there is a number. And I feel like if you get up to, like,
Are you gonna put this in a time frame? Because I think the time frame is very important as well.
6 months.
well,
I
because
want to hear your raw thoughts on it.
my raw
What's
thought
your
is like,
number?
if it's over 7,
Damn.
In
We-
life,
Her lifespan.
yeah, we got a problem. Because then at that point, that's like, again, we're talking about these are like you mentioned. There was a
Over
friend.
7.
There was a friend of yours that had 2 abortions. That was one
Three.
was
yeah,
one
consider
was
3.
considered 3, and it's like now we getting up to like if we add up these potential lives, it's like damn, you damn near changing the game at this point.
It's a crazy.
And like you said, it may be a mental thing. So like let's like what's going
That's
like
lenient. 7?
7 is a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like I
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like if you go
At
on,
that point, it's financial. Like, how much you spend on all this shit?
and abortions are not cheap. If you remember that, they're an
They're
investment.
not cheap. So I'm not.
They're
You
not
fucking up
pleasant.
the money.
Yeah.
Now you're just dumb.
But I do
I
think
just
I
think
just
it's reckless.
I just
it
think
could be
that I just think
reckless.
that if we have laws that talk about you can't kill people, you
Okay,
can't do
exactly.
this, you
Those
can't do that.
laws
It's
are
like
preventing harm
from
to
life.
other people, right?
From life. It's
So
harm
what
from
do you
life.
consider a life?
I consider-
something
That's the
6
whole-
weeks with
that's
no brain
the real
activity
issue,
allowed?
too.
Nobody can agree what
No
is
one can
life.
agree.
Is
What
it
is
brain
life?
Even if you
activity?
prove
Is
science.
it the heartbeat? Is it a fully formed features?
Well,
Like,
we don't even know what life is. We don't even know what the meaning of life
Yeah.
is. So we can't even agree on that. So of course we're not going to agree on what we consider life. It depends on who you are. You know what I'm saying? It could be a heartbeat. It could
That's
be
why
a
you
sum-
gotta govern yourself, your own laws.
But we can't.
Again,
If you can't
that's
agree on that,
That's anarchy, my nigga.
Everybody can't have their own government.
Yeah, exactly.
everybody does
There
have their
are
own
no
government.
rules.
Like I said,
It
like
gets
it's
to-
an umbrella.
Okay,
but
so like
at
you
the
said,
end of the day, you can
go-
do whatever you can.
You can do
in
whatever you
them
want
realms.
to a certain extent, right?
Right, exactly.
That's what I'm saying about in my mind, there is a number. To a certain extent, you can do whatever you have in main abortion you want until you get to this number. Once
And
you get to
that's
this
just
number,
a personal thing for you.
yeah, once you get to
Yeah.
this number, it's like, all right, now
Can we do that counseling thing when you get to that number? Like, hey,
It's got to no, it's gonna be like
me again.
That's a hard line for you.
Yeah, like we can do the counseling, but it's a red flag. Like
What is that?
anytime she tries to go somewhere, it'd be like it's a wrap.
But what? Oh, you talking about from a when it comes to laws, like
Yeah,
then she should be regulated and she can't legally get an abortion at that point.
yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about just when you start judging.
No, I mean I don't really
That's what we're
care.
talking about too.
It ain't my kids. So
So you don't have a number.
Yeah, I don't care personally, but I'm saying as far as like how
So if you got with a girl and she was like, I had 12. Is that you don't care?
no,
I don't care about the past.
I don't.
You
You
with
know,
me
I'm
now.
gonna say you know with me, I don't talk about the past.
Okay, so you don't care. All right.
I'll bring up bullshit.
I would care if she told me to know. If she told me that's the.
oh shit.
I'm done. I'm so done.
She was on the first date. Like you said, it was a pill. She was like, I take the sirloin.
She pop a pill before every
It's
date.
right, some Merlot.
Y'all foul. Nah, I just think that I just feel like there's a balance. We need balance with things. Like I believe people should have choices, but I also think that for the betterment of society, you need to just like paying taxes. Like you can make as much money as you want to as long as you give back. You know what I'm saying? A certain amount. It's like yes, you can do certain things, but it has to be regulated to
So
make
let's
everybody
regulate
to
this.
make
think
everybody
a lot
better.
of the problem, okay, this is a problem I have with regulations. Yeah, regulations are cool, but I feel like the way America's government uses regulations are to
Yeah, they get too
systematically
yeah.
oppress poor people and minorities.
And I don't know the real reason for this law. Like
That's why
y'all
I'm not
mentioned
really-
conspiracy theories as far as population control or like keeping the majority in the majority and not, in the minority. That could be it. There's a lot of crazier things that's
I
happening
don't
in
think
America.
it's good because just knowing our government, them niggas is foul.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
do not want to see us rise and overcome ever. So they will do whatever it takes to keep us down, whether it's through laws or cops killing black people on the street.
And people, they're protesting against that. A lot of people like literally outside my apartment complex, if I drive down the street, like I'm always seeing abortion, pro-life,
Yeah.
banners just every weekend, every
Bro,
Saturday
we
morning.
have people on my campus that'll be like, oh, are you having sex, premarital sex? Have you ever had an abortion? Do you not believe in Christ? I'm like, on my campus.
Yeah,
like,
they hit you hard.
Yo, those protesters are wild. They will kill you.
They will
in
hit
the
you with
name
them
of
head.
God.
Yeah,
I'm
they'll
like,
hit you with them headlines.
No, they'll be ready to stone motherfuckers. And I'm just, like I said, I just feel like it's a way to control people, specifically people that don't look like you or don't fit in or are not you.
But people are protesting on both sides too. Like, you know what I'm saying? People who
I
are
feel like we have
pro-choice.
the right to protest because we're protesting for our own choice.
And so do you agree with like what the film industry, since we're talking about, Georgia, since we're all living in Georgia, specifically, like this is now considered like Hollywood #2,
Okay.
Black Hollywood, if you want to call it as well. A lot of people in the film industry, like a lot of
Oh, they're
production
pulling
studios,
out.
they pulling out.
Yeah, I
They
heard
doing what
Netflix
these niggas
pulling
was
out.
supposed to do, pull out.
Yeah.
And that's affecting a lot of jobs, obviously, because
Yeah.
it takes a lot to make a movie or a TV show or even anything in media. Do y'all agree with those? Just to combat that, or do you feel like that may be going too far because you're affecting way more lives now than the potential lives that you're talking about?
I think what they're doing is, it might not be the most ideal thing, but to hurt someone is to take their money. Like, that's how all these politicians speak. That's how things get done in this country, is if you're speaking in money. So to take out big corporations and be like, nah, I'm not filming my movie here. You're not getting my money because you believe in this. And it's not saying that, like, you're not harming them like intentionally, but it could easily be resolved. You're saying just give people their rights and I'll film here. But if they're being, you hating women that much, who was it? It was like in Alabama. They took off this major, like, rich-ass lawyer who donated $21 million to them. Like, they named the school after him and stuff. And after they passed that law, they gave him the money back. And they took his name off the school. And they was like, nah, we don't want your money because you're over here going against the abortion ban.
Damn.
Like, stuff like that. I'm just like, they really hate the idea of pro-choice and whatnot that much. And I'm like, cool, let Netflix take their money then and whatnot. Just because it's just... they're wrong. In my opinion, they're wrong. And for them to try to control women and whatever women want, that's not harming anyone else, is stupid to me. So, yeah, let them lose their money. That's fair.
What about you, Imani? Damn, I feel like I just hit you where it hurts.
I'm just so frustrated with this whole thing. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. Just because, like, you shouldn't. I don't care about their money, honestly. Like, I don't care about their money, and I don't care that they feel as though they should be so above people. Like, I'm really frustrated. Like, there's too much control, I guess, is my issue with the whole thing. It's just too much.
On the lawmaker side or on both sides?
On the lawmaker side, because it's like they're literally making laws that, like, I don't see how it doesn't affect them. But like you told me even earlier that you said there was a woman congressperson who voted for it. So it's like, I thought that this was going to be an all males argument, but then you just say stuff like that and you're like,
it's a human argument.
yeah, it's a human argument. It's like,
a lot of women support pro.
and I don't get, that part I don't get, but maybe because they've never been in a situation where they've had children when they weren't ready, or maybe finances was never an issue for them. So there's all these circumstances that fall into their reasoning, I guess, for being like the pro-life argument. But
like, what if you were to go back to like this affecting people's jobs and finances? We talk about finances with this. What if somebody is pro-choice, but they lost their job working on a big film and stuff like that?
All the more reason to know your rights and know that you can actively protest against these bills and say, like, yo, I lost my job because you want to be assholes and not give women their rights. I'm not going to blame Netflix for taking their money away from the state.
Netflix had money invested in.
Yeah, it's a lose.
Yeah, like, because you know, like how Atlanta, like all the films are being like filmed here, shows and stuff. It's like a big spot. So Netflix pulled their money basically.
Or the thing, it's not
they're
passed.
thinking about it.
Yeah, the bill hasn't passed yet. The bill,
If they pass it, Netflix said they're out.
if they pass, everything is.
So they just have money invested in the state.
Everybody, every big film company, damn near got money invested.
You know
It's
how,
because they
all
get
the Avengers
major
are filmed
tax
here.
breaks.
They get tax breaks.
Oh.
Yeah,
Filming
Okay,
it. So it's a
okay.
lose-lose. When they leave and pull out, they're
gotta
doing
find
it
another
for
place.
solely their women cast,
Right,
the women staff.
exactly.
So
And
They have to represent
Is that
them.
what else? What other lose do you see with that?
because now they don't get those tax breaks, they have to go to a different
have to
state,
go
a different
more.
location, and they're gonna have to pay more just to get their film produced.
exactly.
And they could be
So it's a
comfortable
lose-lose on both sides.
They could be comfortable in Atlanta too. Like, say you're always making movies here or in Georgia in general. It's like now you got to go scout new places, see if some, like fits.
Exactly, and
Make a new map, I guess I'm trying to say.
yeah, a lot of these places, Atlanta was just perfect for it. It had all the elements
had
for it
everything.
as far as film. But when they're making that decision to value their, like I said, the staff and the women who make that company from the inside out, rather than that money.
Do you think there's another tactic instead of pulling out? But like what y'all was saying was that money talks. But is there
to
another
represent-
one?
Make
I
it more
think-
expensive.
I think money talks.
Just to represent.
You said make it more expensive.
Yeah, that'll be a win-win. It'll serve their purpose. That it'll reduce the abortion rate, but at the same time, it'll bring them money as abortions come.
But wouldn't
But
that
then
affect
still
the
affects
right to
people
choose?
who-
Yeah.
Not even that, just
No,
people who are not going to get, it's already hard for some people to get an abortion like we talked about earlier. So it's just even harder for those women to have
Would that
access
make you
to it.
think about sex before you have it?
I think about sex before I have it all the time.
I mean, just
That's
saying,
true.
like in general, would that make you? Because usually, like when the price tag is higher, you think about your
Yeah,
choice.
you're more cautious.
You're more
about
cautious
things.
about it.
I mean, I'm just a cautious person. I don't know if it's because I'm an immigrant. That's how I am. But I feel like other people, if they're not normally cautious, they'll definitely consider it more than they normally do.
I guess my question would be, if you had to consider both sides, because we're saying like pro-choice, like it's our women's body. that's saying fuck the thoughts and opinions of pro-life. So if you had to consider both, do y'all obviously it's a hard question because they're trying to figure this shit out, but what solutions, do y'all have any ideas for a solution, like middle ground?
I can relate to the people who are pro-life. I can relate to them because that's my religion. You know what I'm saying? And like, even let's say we take religion out of it. I don't think that anybody should be playing God. Same reason I'm against murdering and all that stuff. You know? So it's like, I get what they're saying. It's not like I don't understand. I know what you're saying. I get it. I respect it.
Respect it.
But it's why I can't get behind it too, because if these people are coming from a religious standpoint as well, it's like, what happened to loving everybody? What happened to giving?
They are loving everybody. They want everybody to live.
Then, okay, if that's the case, then why aren't they taking care of the kids in the States?
But
now
you're going to nuance.
But it's true though. It's just like the thing where it's like, oh, we care so much about this baby that's not even born yet that they're not taking care of. But once this kid's out on the street, they don't give a fuck.
So that's why. But that's why I was going back to the extreme of like, okay, yeah, we can't raise a kid, so the kid can't be born.
For some people, I just think people should have that option. I'm not saying, like I said, I don't know.
The word of the day is
what's your middle ground, Nick?
No, because I mean, like, because I don't want.
What's your middle ground?
Because I
agree with both sides.
I understand both sides, but at the same time, we're still talking about living things. Whether it's the woman herself, whether it's the unborn baby, whether it's the father of the baby, whether it's the, you know, we're talking about living things. So I don't want always people to think like, oh, it's just that easy. Like, an abortion really shouldn't be an easy thing to go through.
I don't think it is.
Shouldn't be an easy choice. It shouldn't be like, it's something that you really have to consider. So I want people who are pro-choice or pro-life to really both think about both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, really understand that when you're doing this, like, it is what it is. There's no coming back from it. It ain't like any other type of choice you really can make in life.
And I think to get to that point, you have to do a lot of thinking. So, like, for someone to be like, all right, I'm having an abortion, they probably did a lot to get there. You know what I mean? They went through a lot. They talked about it a lot. Like,
I hope so. You would hope so.
Everyone that I know that has an abortion thoroughly thought about it. Like, they for real sat down and played out all their options.
And I think the issue comes in, we don't treat sex the same way, which is the source of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Imani brought that up. I was going to go back to that, like safe sex.
Not even safe sex, having sex, period. Because even safe sex is not always safe.
It's not 100%.
I mean, nothing's 100%.
Having said, what we do is diminish the value, like all that description you just said, as far as like, this is a big decision. We need to think about this before we do it. That's how we should treat sex, but we don't. And so you are walking in that house knowing that in there you're going to find a whole bunch of shit. It could be pregnancy. It could be a disease. It could be a motherfucking miscarriage. It could be all these things. It could be nothing. It could be an empty room. But nonetheless, you know what you were getting yourself into by walking in that house is sex. Making that decision. That's what we don't emphasize. That's what we have diminished and just made it so natural and common. And I'm not no advocate for celibacy or abstinence because I fuck, but and I love it, but I know what I'm getting into in that house.
Do you really though? Because every time, like, because if a girl that you bumped uglies with says she was pregnant with, like, what are you saying?
I told you I have to mind fuck her.
All right.
I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna say, but
so you gonna
be listening.
So you say you gonna get out of it somehow, some way?
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to do my best to spin it what I want. Who knows? Who knows? I might want it at that time. She might not want it. I might have to play it different. I might have to play it a different way. Like, oh, you don't want it. Like, you was about to go to the chop shop. Oh.
Yo, that's fucked
Can we
up.
not?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
we talking about killing babies at the end of the day. Like,
it
is what it is.
More
like, let's
remorseful.
It could be a chop shop. It could be what is it called? Oh,
where do y'all hear these names?
Let's not.
It could be. I'm not gonna go into. I could go a lot worse. I'm just saying, like, it could be like the stork didn't stop by today. I don't know what you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
the stork didn't stop
it is
by.
what it is.
FPG.
But what I was trying to get at is if we were the governors of our state, what law are we putting in place? Mine would be, you heard mine, even if it's controversial, I'd be like, look, it just costs a little bit more money. Like, you going to jump through some, like you said, you going to have to jump through some hoops to get to it.
Why, though?
Because it shouldn't. Like Nick said, it shouldn't be easy. At the same time,
I
like
don't think it is easy though. People make
if
it
But that's-
seem like-
people who are
that's-
pro-life have such an issue with it for some reason, like at least have some benefit come to them. Like have some.
It's a
solace.
compromise.
Like, you got paid for it at least. Like
This whole country's built on compromise, right?
I just don't know how abortions have been hurting this country.
I don't say it's hurting, but I'm just saying the choice. It's again, it's not about the country. It's about that particular potential life. It could be hurting that.
The life that doesn't have brain activity for
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
shit. If you throw a seed in the ground, it could become a plant. That don't mean
It could.
you know what I'm saying.
could.
And plants, we need those things. They don't have brain activity, but they keep us alive. Like there's things bigger than us.
Like I said, and that's why I'm like, you have the choice to keep the baby, and I have the choice to terminate it. If I
So
needed
what
to.
would your law do?
I would keep it pro-choice.
Okay. What about you?
I don't
Ron?
want to change anything.
Yeah. That
Maybe
Yeah,
more funding
keep
for
it.
Planned Parenthood.
I'm
Not saying
pro-choice.
That's all they do.
oh no, that's not what I asked though. I said your law.
My law would
what
be
is the law?
Oh, you can
in a
you would
safe.
keep it at what it was. Like you can get abortion.
I want it to be in more safe places. I want it to be where, because I don't think people understand. There's a lot of people that still struggle to get them and do unhealthy methods of removing a fetus and all those things. So it's just like, if we just, because again, the mom is still experiencing it. So if we can find a safer way for her to go through it, that's affordable for all. And again, maybe you might need more therapy along with this, so we know that women are just not resorting to it as like, for a whatever thing. But people that truly do need it should have access to it in a safe place. Like, I don't think that's a problem.
I think that I would, if it was my state or whatever, I'd be like, it's pro-choice, but there's a fatality cap.
The
Just like
cap
in
thing is
sports, there's
interesting.
there's
That's
a
an
salary
interesting
cap.
to
Like, it's
explore.
just like you get to this level, and all right, you fucking up now. Like now you
So
I
the
think
eighth
that's
just
one-
playing.
The
You just
eighth
playing.
one is rape.
Huh?
If
Nah,
the eighth
I
one
don't-
is rape
no,
or
I'm-
incest.
Oh. Ooh.
if the eighth one is rape or incest,
Like,
Yeah, she
that's why
can't
she's
get rid of
having
that
an
baby.
abortion.
Because all you're doing is saying we're gonna hold this conversation till a little later.
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna wrap up this episode with that. I didn't want to answer that question. All right, no, there's no disrespect.
Monty?
Yeah,
Hmm?
I'm just.
Oh,
It's
wait,
not,
did we, oh yeah, you said pro-choice.
It would be pro-choice, following Nick's stance in terms of there's a cap, but I really want to start treating like abortions like on a case by case like basis, like how doctors will treat their patients like case.
We don't got enough social workers for that.
Not social
I thought-
workers, the
We don't got enough
doctors.
doctors for that.
The doctors do it with their regular patients. You know what I'm saying? Like use that same ideology and just keep an eye on them. So let's say the number is 7. If we're asking for an 8th, we need to talk. Like you can't get it the same way
what's
as easy as
going
you
on?
got it
maybe
before.
and maybe I'll have to enforce it. Yeah, maybe I'll have to enforce it. Like, okay, you can get put up for adoption, but you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
But then are we infringing upon their rights? Not saying that you guys are
At
wrong.
the- I gave you enough
are,
rights.
You're
At
just
the eighth?
having the
I'm
conversation
not saying
later.
y'all
We talking
wrong.
about the
I'm
eighth
just asking
incident?
a question.
Like, yes, the 8th incident is.
That's like saying,
it's
all
out of
right,
your
you
control.
fucked Raw 8 times, but if you fuck Raw again, bro, we gonna have to
No,
talk
7
to you
times.
about that.
7 times. Yeah, like if you had 7 abortions and now you're saying, oh, I got raped, and we find out that it was, or just going off your word that you got raped, it's like, okay, I'm sorry for that, but we gonna just take this baby away, and because you've been here too
You're
much.
too irresponsible. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
I've given you enough chances.
Exactly.
Enough is enough.
To make better choices, because the counseling is coming with each abortion. I
Yeah.
think a counseling
I think counseling would be
should
good
come
with
with each abortion.
And I think it
But
does.
if you in counseling about 7 times, it's like, all right, it's not sticking.
Something's not sticking.
Yeah.
Something's not clicking. And I get that. I just still, it's a thin line of telling someone what they can do with their body, because we all have a sense of
But the
morality.
government tells us what we can do to a certain extent anyway, right? There's
Yeah.
laws that say what we can and can't do,
Yeah.
whether they're right or wrong.
There's laws on suicide. Like there's just like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like they
true.
regulate everything.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
So they regulate life already. Why not? That's why I'm posing the question to y'all. Like, why is this a big issue? But you guys giving me something to think about. I'm not saying I'm either way. I just like having conversation.
You never either way, bro. You don't ever make no decisions on here, bro.
I make a decision. I just said pro-choice with a cap. So maybe that's not even pro-choice. Maybe that's a loose pro-life.
Basically, like
I'm loosely pro-life. I'm
right in
letting
the
things-
middle.
I'm pro-choice. You just gotta spend it.
I'm
bro.
letting
so
things
choose
slide.
wisely.
I'm letting things slide until the second one.
Damn.
we dropped a lot of conspiracies on this episode today. We
Yeah, it
should
was
do a
interesting.
I
conspiracy
dropped the
episode.
big one. I
love
want y'all to do some
conspiracy.
research.
We should
I'm
do a
gonna look into
conspiracy
that.
That's
episode.
the thing. That's the thing I want people to take away from this episode. Do your research. because there's a lot of myths out there about this law. Make sure you know what they are. Make sure you know your rights.
Know your rights.
Solutions is if you want to protest these laws, definitely vote local. I always say local elections are way more important than presidential.
Yep.
That's if you plan to stand there.
But still, it's your community.
Yeah, it's your
I could
community.
have voted on Cincinnati. I left. I could give a fuck now.
I voted
Right.
before I left.
And have you even checked on it? You don't give a fuck.
Even checked.
I don't give a damn about that shit bucket city. You know? It's like, nah. Shout
Damn.
out to my Cincinnati people. You know what I'm saying? I still rep it 513. The handle is still 513. You know what
We're
I'm
keeping
saying?
it 513.
Keeping it 513. They
All
need to
right.
know where we come from. But other solutions as far
TBD.
as what people can do for research, you can go to the American Civil Liberties Union, their website, Planned Parenthood website. You can find out all the facts. Just Google shit. Google's
just
the
educate yourself.
Google's the best university
find
I've
out,
seen.
find out all the facts that they want you to see, and
Right.
then do your own research and
Do
get the
your
real
own
shit.
research.
Stay woke out here.
Just have your own opinion. Biggest thing.
Have your own opinion and just respect others' opinion as well.
Amen.
Because this is no disrespect, and even though we can say some raunchy shit.
Yeah, I was saying some blasphemous shit earlier.
Blasphemous?
It was
Chill
chop
out.
shop.
That ain't.
not blasphemous.
You've heard worse. I've heard worse.
Nah,
I've heard worse in the sermon.
I'm relating to the pro-choice by that. That's how convenient it can be.
Gross.
He said, "What? You pregnant? Chop, chop, take."
So gross.
Big Mouth called it an abortion factory. So
Damn.
Abortion. I love that show, bro. That show's my shit.
So you co-sign that fact.
Yeah. you like seeing abortions. You don't want to deal with them.
Wait a minute.
But yeah, that's us for this week. If y'all please comment us, send us your questions. Just comment on the episode. How y'all feel? Let us know where we were right, where we were wrong. Niaima, it's always good to have you back. Imani,
thank
I
you.
hope
Glad
you
to be
stay.
back.
here I am. I'm here for good now.
No,
All
I
right,
need
I gotta
her
figure
here.
something out for you.
Yeah,
For
she
good
bound.
balance.
No, that's why I wanted to have. I was waiting for her to come so we could have this because I know me and Swaff was gonna bombard you with a bunch of nigga shit. But yeah, make sure they know where to follow you at, Neems.
Yep, you can follow me on IG at it's Niaima with some underscores,
With some
NEIMAAA, 2 underscores following that.
And she off Ramadan, fellas, so she back
Oh.
drinking at the bar. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
wait
You
a
can
minute.
you can see her
Oh.
at Panko. You see the
I'm done
painted
with
duck. You
Sorry,
know what I'm saying? She gonna be out there. She got the little, what's the
henna.
Habaragani?
Henna.
Oh,
She got the henny in the henna hand.
she got the
my
henny
henna's all
tat.
out.
You know what I'm saying on her backhand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she
Henny
slapping
in the
nigga. You know what I'm
henna
saying?
hand. That could be a damn song.
Imani, where can
Table
they follow you at?
You can follow me on Instagram at i.kcb.
Real simple.
That was real
Real
simple. I used to
simple.
be like you.
I like that. And Kirk Cooks.
And
Boy, you
follow
in the
Kirk
city now.
Cooks.
You damn near gotta stay.
Yeah, promote that shit.
You damn near.
Follow
gotta
my
stay.
business page at KERRKOOKS.
And what can they see on that page?
You will see food porn for your life. You will
I'm
get
following it right now. Hold on.
plates. I do plates on the weekends. I will cater your events. I am
Okay.
here to feed the people, food that takes you to the islands. Nothing more, nothing less.
Can I get it one more time?
KERRKOOKS.
KS. Got it.
Yes. I
And
am
you
a
could-
one-man show.
You can
Aw,
follow
It's
us
exciting.
on Instagram and Twitter at NDR513. Yes, we keeping it 513. Ain't no pendant on that shit. You know what I'm saying? We in Atlanta, but we still rep Cincinnati. Swaff, where they?
Hey, you can get me at Swaff SWAFF. 4 F's.
And then we about to get the
Fuck your mother.
Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck your mother.
Respect, no, no, no. Respect, no, no, no. Respect, no,